Hi, my name is Alejandro Pérez Pérez, and this is the AI Coffee Podcast. Every week, you will have one disruptive aspect of technology and artificial intelligence for the time to drink a cup of coffee. Today, we are not going to talk about technology or artificial intelligence, but we are going to talk about disruptive things in society. So, let's talk a bit about how do we work nowadays, because I think it's very relevant for you and for me. Work, it's like, I don't know, 80%, 70%, 60% of our life. We are working almost the whole day, since Monday, from Monday to Friday. I don't know, 11 months in a year. So it's like a lot of a lot of time that we focus on working, and the future and the present of work, I think, is very relevant to discuss here. And I also want to know, what do you think about work? Do you think digital nomadism or remote work are the future, are the past, the present? So let me know your thoughts about that on the comment section. That I think is going to be really, really nice for me and for the rest of you to know. But this time I wanted to talk about something more personal, because these episodes that I'm creating, other than the interviews, I want to talk usually about AI. I have been talking about Copilot, about technical interviews, about ChatGPT a lot. But this time I wanted to do something a little bit more personal, which is also nice, I guess, for you to know a little bit more about me. And it is like a small experiment. So let me know if you are okay with that, or you prefer just really technical and professional videos. So my approach about remote work is that remote work is the present. I mean, I have been working remotely since COVID time, even though before I was very lucky because I was working for a company that let us work remotely a lot of times. So for some projects, for example, I was working from Madrid to Sweden, for example, for a lot of time. This project, it was nice because at the beginning I was there in Sweden, and I knew Stockholm and Sweden a little bit all around. But then I came back to Madrid, and I was able to work from distance really, really nice, because when you are working with a computer and when you are working with coding or with something, I mean, it's very easy to work remotely. But then, of course, as most of us, maybe in 2020, when COVID started and the lockdowns appeared and everything was about that, I started to work remotely every time, always. And it was really, really a chance for me to really understand the good, the benefits about that. And since that moment until now, and I hope in the future, I am working remotely like almost every day. And yeah, I have seen that this is a good option for me. But let's talk a bit about the pros and the cons, the good things and the bad things, the lights and the shadows about remote work, which I think are usually unspoken. And of course, there is a lot of jobs and roles that, of course, they are not able to do remote working. So I know that I am a privileged person because of that. But it's interesting to understand a little bit more about that. If you want to start working remotely, for example, it's interesting also for you, I guess, to understand also the bad points of that. So for me, the pros are that the main pro is that you avoid commuting. I live in Madrid, which is a really big city with a lot of traffic, and also in the mornings and in the evenings, usually there is a lot of crowded roads with a lot of cars. Also, I don't usually drive, but still I could do it. But still, the other possibility is taking public transport. I usually at this time there is like a lot of people at this, all the metros, the trains, the buses are usually crowded. uh, Hopefully in Madrid we have a lot of good connections, it works really well, but still it takes time, it takes energy, because you need to be with a lot of people, a crowded place, maybe change 2 or 3 times to from a bus to another bus, or to the metro, or to whatever. And yeah, of course, it takes time. It takes time. And usually, when, like, most of the time I have been working in Madrid, the places, the offices where I was working for, they were in about 1 hour from public transport from my house to there. So it took 2 hours, let's say, going and coming back home. So hopefully I was able to work remotely from Madrid, even though I was quite near, but still it was really, really helpful for me for avoiding these 2 hours of time, also of energy, and also for being at home, which is much more comfortable. You can have your good setup, you can have your own things, and yeah, it works much better. And now I'm not used to work in office anymore. Sometimes I have done it, but still it's complicated for me because I'm not used to a lot of people all around talking, opening, I don't know, a door, calling to another person. And at home, you are quiet in a quiet space. You have your setup, you have your own things, and yeah, it's much better. So another good point is that you eat better, because before I was working remotely, fully remotely, I was working for a project that I needed to go like 5 days per week there to this office, to this customer office. And this specific place, it was a very stressful place. I was working on a stressful project, let's say, and I really needed to go out for eating, because I was able, of course, to carry my own food, but I didn't want to stay at that office eating, because I really needed this, let's say, time for me to eat and to really relax a bit. So what I was doing for 6 months, something like that, is almost every day, I was going to a restaurant next to the place I was working, and I was eating really, really nice food in that restaurant every day. But still, I got like 10 kilograms, I think, during these 6 months, because all that food was really nice, but maybe not so healthy. So now, by working remotely, you can control what you eat. You can directly say, okay, today I can order food, or today I can prepare my own things, or I can maybe, I don't know, prepare things for the whole week in the weekend. So you can just take control of what you eat, take control about your times, take control about everything. And sometimes, yeah, it's healthier for you. So this is like a good thing also. And then the last good thing that I think is very, very nice is that you spend less money on clothes, on shoes, on yeah, these kind of things that you need to wear and you need to use if you work in an office. Because, well, it will depend, of course, on you and your way of living. But for me, for example, I'm not used to wear, I don't know, suits, for example, with ties. So if I would need to wear that for going to the office every day, I would need to buy a lot of different kind of suits and clean them often. So usually, cleaning these kind of things are expensive, and it's like a lot of money and time also for ironing, for this kind of stuff. That, of course, if you're at home, I recommend you also to wear clean clothes, to be nice, but still, it's like you can wear all the kind of stuff that are maybe cheaper, are more comfortable, and of course require less things, like, for example, ironing and stuff like that. So this is also a good thing for me. Then bad things. This is something I guess most of us forget a bit, but I guess, and I'm sure that if you're working remotely, um, you little by little disconnect a bit from the company and from the rest of the group. And this is something I have experienced. Of course, maybe it's not the same for everyone, but it's not the same. It cannot be the same working like face to face, personally, on one side, like watching a person every day. It's not at all the same as having this person on Teams and even having a daily meeting every day with a camera. It's not the same. And I think we all have experienced that when COVID like forces us to be at home. Then we tried to create these bridges, this video calls with friends, relatives, and stuff like that, but it's not at all the same as watching them in person. So little by little, if you work remotely, it's very, very easy to disconnect from the purpose of the project, for the rest of the group. So you need to do an extra job, and this is maybe most for managers, but still for everyone working in a project, you need to do an extra job on trying to connect with others. So maybe it's really important to create one weekly meeting of 50 minutes, 30 minutes, or even sometimes if you are something I do, for example, if I am in a daily meeting, usually dailies are in technology projects are really quick, are used to, I consider something that need to be really quick because they are dailies. So maybe they are around 15, 20 minutes. So instead of maybe, I mean, sometimes maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that, if there is something happening, maybe it's also nice and good for the project and for the team to continue the conversation a little bit more. And instead of 15 minutes, talk for 1 hour. And you can see it like a waste of time. And it could be, but it's also a good investment on the team culture, let's say, and the project, because sometimes it feels lonely. And I have a friend that doesn't like at all work remotely because she is quite junior, she is quite young, and she always says to me that, you know, it feels really lonely to me to be at home, to be working with people throughout my computer, but I don't see them. It's really like lonely, and as I'm a junior, sometimes I feel like it goes against my career. And it could be the case if you really, I mean, I think you need to do an extra job, an extra work for being in touch with others. And I know this is a bad thing, but still it's something you can work on that. And I also have good connections that I have never seen in person just because I have been working remotely with them. And I think it's the case for many of us. So it's nice. It's nice you can do it, but still it's a little bit maybe more difficult. Yeah. So another bad thing, and I think many people forget it, is like we are a lot of time at home, indoors, sad. And this is very bad for health. If you combine, imagine being at home 8 or 10 hours per day, a minimum, because of course then you have your life, and maybe after a Tuesday working, maybe you decide to be at home, for example, watching a film or something like that. So minimum you are, I don't know, 8 hours per day at home. You are maybe in one room that it could be also your bedroom, and you don't leave this room for out of time. You eat indoors. Maybe if it's winter time, when you leave, it's already dark, so you haven't seen the sun for the whole day. And then you don't talk to real people face to face during the whole day. So yeah, these are, if you think a little bit, they are like the first symptoms of a depression somehow. So it's also very, very important to say that if you work remotely, you also need to do an extra effort on you, on your body, on your social networks, social relationships out of work, let's say, and also force you sometimes to say, okay, let's make a pause during the day if it's sunny, and I will go for 15 minutes outdoors just because I need, as a animal body, human being, you can say whatever you want, I need the sun to and the fresh air to be on me and my skin and feel it, because otherwise it's going to be very sad for me, and I will little by little enter a very sad loop, you know, and maybe become have a depression, because I imagine being at home the whole day, the whole week. Yeah, you really need to do things outdoors and outside sometimes. And also for doing exercise, it's I think you need to do an extra thing about that, because easily, even though, okay, it's nice because I have as I have said before, you can eat better food if you are at home, that's okay, but still you are sad, you don't move. So it's very, very necessary to maybe focus on, okay, let's go to the gym, let's go to dancing if you like, let's go for a walk, let's do something, because if you don't do anything, like and some activity, physical activity, is very easy um, to to have problems in health. And I'm not talking about weight or something like that. It's like you are becoming really weak, and maybe it's something I have experienced, and I guess that most of you as well. Sometimes I have had projects that during 1 month, for example, and during this month, I have just a few times maybe done exercise, or during many days maybe I was working for a lot of time, so then I was tired. So then I have experienced that, then when I finish, maybe I want to go for a hiking 15 minutes, and maybe I don't have the energy to do it. It's like, wow, so I need to still like readapting my body again to having this energy again, and it's very serious, that thing. And just a small also thing I wanted to talk, and let me know also your thoughts about remote working if you are doing that. That for me, the good combinations are, well, of course, the good thing is that flexibility, I think, is the most important word when we are talking about this, and it should be up to the professional to do remote working or not, or maybe trying to find the good balance. Because for me, for example, something that worked really well is that, okay, let's say day by day it's nice for being remotely, because I can maybe work from my parents' house if I want to visit them for a week, or maybe I can stay in, I don't know, in the beach, something I have done already, and working from there during the summer, and yeah, it's really nice, really convenient. But still, it's really nice that maybe once a quarter or once a year or twice a year, something like that, the whole project team, the whole group, the whole, I don't know, department uh, make something together. Like, for example, go for a dinner all together, maybe go for 1 day of formation at work, and then do some activities all together, and talk to the other people. And I think that works. If what it doesn't work of hybrid like way of working, that is something also many people experience, and this is my opinion, of course. But what it doesn't work is like this kind of projects that says you need to come to the office twice a week, for example, or once a week, or 3 times a week. For me, it's completely a waste of everything, because it's like, why do you decide which days are the good ones for me for doing remote work? Because I mean, maybe for me, it's nice to be working at home, and maybe if I need it, I can go to the office to talk to other people, and maybe I can organize once a week a day of meetings talking to people in the office. Or maybe it's interesting to say, okay, once a month, let's focus on one fully week of a specific other meetings, or specific sessions of creativity, of co-creation, of whatever, of teaching things, formation. So let's focus on, okay, let's have some days that we are going to do a lot of things in person, and it's important to be here because there are activities running, but the rest of the month you can organize as you want. And for me, this flexibility is really, really valuable, and I think for most of us, because even these people that thinks that it's really nice being in the office and working in this place, I think if they could have the possibility to go to an office, it's perfectly okay. But it's nice to have the combination of, okay, you can go or you cannot go. Because also another good thing I haven't said is, and I mentioned a bit, is why if you decide to be a digital nomad, or even better, um, why if you, for example, decide to change your home base, for example, to a place far away from the place you are working from the office, because it's much cheaper. This is something many people are experiencing. I know a lot of people who have decided to move out of big cities just because of the house pricing and stuff like that. And I guess it could work. And it could work. And in Spain, for example, we have the majority of the country almost white, because it's almost countryside. And I'm feeling really happy that people coming from Madrid, or that were living, for example, in Madrid or Barcelona or big cities, really decide to move to these places to repopulate them, and also feeling happier and paying less because there's like a less demand of housing over there. So why not to do it? And nowadays it's very easy to work on a project. If you have internet connection, you have a computer, you have, I don't know what else, a mouse or something like that, you can do it really nice. And of course, if people is happier, the projects are going to be better. I'm mostly sure that the productivity is much, much better if you work remotely rather than if you go to an office crowded of people and there's like a lot of distractions. And of course, if you don't like this, it's even going to be worse. So this flexibility, I think, is the good point. And just to mention a couple of things about digital nomadism, for me, in my experience, I have tried to do some summers, as I said, in the beach in Canary Islands. I already did it 3 times, and it's something I'm really, really thankful because I love this place and I hate Madrid in summer because it's too hot and too dry. So I'm feeling really happy. I'm really thankful for for being able to do so. I'm going there for like long periods, working there, but still, I feel sometimes like it's nice to be at home. So for me, I have discovered that it doesn't work. It doesn't work digital nomadism. It works well being for longer periods in other places, such as relative houses, the beach in summer, or I don't know, maybe for a week or a month in another place I wanted to visit. I think this is a good combination. And you can also combine it with some holidays. So you can take, I don't know, 1 week off and 1 week of remote working from another place. I think that's really nice. And there are good combinations. And I recommend you to do it if you haven't done it yet and you have the possibility. But still, on the other hand, being digital nomad, it's very, very tiring for me. But still, I understand why people do it. And why not? I mean, as I said before, my like main thing is like, if a person feels happier doing something, like, for example, being a digital nomad or do remote working or going to the office every day, I am sure that the productivity of this person and everything this person is doing is going to be much better because, wow, you can maybe do something you don't want to do 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, but still you cannot work like for years in a way of you are not comfortable with. So why people think it's something you can do it? But of course, it's something I let you think about. I don't know if there is like something for sure, it's written like on rock, like, yes, this is like the best thing you can do on your team or on your office or on your teamwork. But still, I guess that it's something really relevant nowadays because remote work is something, I guess, even from the past, from the present, and I'm sure that is going to be for the future. So I'm finishing here. If you liked it, please subscribe. Let me know what you think about these episodes, if you like it more or less, or yeah, let me know. And you have suggestions for new episodes, write me or put it on comments or whatever. And see you next week. Bye bye.